we starting, Bala? In how much
We are
time?
starting. We are starting now, Velini.
Okay, fantastic.
So good evening, everyone. Or if you allow the time zones, a good afternoon, good morning to different time zones of the globe. So welcome to our very own self-made, sustainable, and a very inspiring Anesthesia Action Week. And people in the world are, I think, going to follow this type of celebration throughout the globe. So all our foreign faculty and President Dr. Bala Venkat and all our GC members, the senior dignitaries, a warm welcome to everyone. So, and today is the second day of our Anesthesia Action Week, and what important, the most important part in the world is our women leadership in India and in the globe. I think over the last 5 to 6 years, we have seen so many of our women leaders emerging, not only in India, but they are doing a good job at the globe, and we are now privileged to have the best of the world leaders today, all the female world leaders with us today, and they will be participating in one of the most wonderful panel discussion, which is going to happen after some time. This leadership summit, I think, is going to give impetus to more of the women across the globe to come forward and join the leadership roles because they are tough. This leadership role is very tough, but if the women leaders are there, I think they have become the toughest. And a few moments ago, Dr. Bala sir was saying about the same thing, I think which he must have thought of saying during his presidential note. So I request Dr. Bala Venkat sir to address the our global women leaders as well as our Indian women leaders. So over to
Uh,
you, Dr. Bala sir.
can we start with our prayer?
I okay. I want to start with you, and after the praise. Okay, sir. I will start with the prayer then.
Yeah,
Just wait, sir.
yeah.
So now we almost every day starts with the prayer. Is the screen visible to everyone?
Mhm.
I think I just have to see again. Yes, just wait, just wait. Share sound. So now we are going to start with our Saraswati Vandana. We start all our academic and non-academic program with Saraswati Vandana, the goddess of education, prepared by our ISA Culture Club.
Om Saraswati Devi Namaha. Presenting Saraswati Devi Vandanam. Ya Kundendu Tusharahara Dhamara Ya Shubhravastra Ya Veena Varadanda Manditakara Ya Shweta Padmasana Ya Brahmachyuta Shankara Prabhutiभिः Devai Sada Vandita Sa Maam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati Nisheshajaryapaha Shukalam Brahma Vichar Sar Paramam Adyam Jagat Vyapini
Saraswati mantra was presented by ISA Cultural Club. It is a beautiful and yet highly powerful prayer to Divine Mother Saraswati for bestowing her grace and love. Recited every morning, it marks start of the day on a positive note. Regular chanting of this mantra can win the grace of Mother Saraswati and bestow goodness and knowledge and help the chanters mature spiritually. May Goddess Saraswati bless us all.
So that was a beautiful composition by our ISA members of our cultural club. So we will be playing this prayer in every day when we start our program. So now with the initiation of program, I request Dr. Bala Venkat Subramanian, sir, the President ISA National, to deliver his presidential note.
Thank you so much to Honorary Secretary Dr. Sukhminderjit Singh Bajwa. And Bajwa comes from the northern Indian state of Punjab, known for its valor and warriors. And it borders the Pakistan, and the current headquarters is situated in the city of Patiala in Punjab. Thank you, Dr. Bajwa, for leading the ISA for the last 3 years so proficiently. And I'm also happy to welcome the 3 moderators of today from the Indian Society of Anesthesiologists. 2 of them are active Governing Council members, Dr. Indrani Hemant Kumar, who is a professor, teacher, educator from Mumbai and currently working in the city of Pune in Maharashtra. And Dr. Sujata Ghosh, the National Governing Council member from the Eastern Indian state of Calcutta. And we have Dr. Ruchi. Dr. Ruchi Gupta is a professor of anesthesia from Amritsar, where the Golden Temple, which is the temple of Sikhs, which are present there. So they will be moderating the session. And all of them have been very proficient by themselves. And on behalf of the entire National Governing Council and the members of Indian Society of Anesthesiologists, we are extremely delighted to welcome Dr. Eleni Moka, the current president of the European Society of Regional Anesthesia, who has made European Society of Regional Anesthesia to be extremely inclusive, diverse, and she is one who initiated, along with a group of leadership of European Society, the World RA Day, which will happen every year in January. Like World Anesthesia Day, we are creating awareness of regional anesthesia. So thank you, Dr. Eleni, for joining us today, and we look forward to getting your insights on women leadership. Joining with us is also welcome Professor Minerva Ervi Kalimag, one of the most brilliant women leaders anesthesia has ever produced. She has been the past president of Philippine Society of Anesthesia, past president of Philippine Medical Association, past president of Asian Oceanic Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain Medicine. And even today, she is in Portugal to attend the medical meeting. And the best part of her is, which I admire her, is she has accomplished all this in spite of having valuable addition to this world, 8 children. And we are so happy that she's going to share on how to balance life and profession. We also have with us yet another accomplished leader, Dr. Sophia Chu. Dr. Sophia Chu is a past president of the Singapore Society of Anesthesia. She has been active in the World Federation of Society of Anesthesiologists in the Educational Committee, and she was the Scientific Committee Chair of the World Congress of Anesthesia, which was held in Singapore last. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Sophia Chu, for joining us. We also have yet another phenomenal and accomplished leader, Dr. Y.K. Chan, the past president of the Malaysian Society of Anesthesia, have represented in the WFSA in the Obstetric Committee, very, very active in education, and she has mentored several young minds in education, research, and obstetrics. To join this and to give the Indian perspective, we have Dr. Professor Anju Griwal, the head of Department of Anesthesia at the All India Institute of Medical Science, Batinda, and she's the current president of the Obstetric Anesthesia Society. She has been an editor-in-chief of the Journal of Research Society of Anesthesiology and Clinical Pharmacology, and to top on it, she's the current editor-in-chief of the Anesthesia Tutorial of the Week. So this is going to be one of the best webinars where we will have questions being asked to the reputed and respected panelist on how a woman can become play leadership roles. And it is a very happy note. We started, and I thank the ISA Cultural Club, Dr. Sailaja Ganti, Dr. Chetna, Dr. Minal, for making this very auspicious and graceful start. I hand over the proceedings back to Dr. Sukhminderjit Singh Bajwa to start the session.
Thank you, sir. So, as already introduced by Dr. Bala Venkat sir, so we always say that these three powerful women who are going to moderate the session, they don't require any introduction. But since the foreign faculty is there, so at least already Dr. Bala sir has introduced them. And Dr. Indrani Hemant Kumar, she is our current GC member. Sujata Ghosh madam, she is the current GC member. And Dr. Ruchi Gupta, she is professor at SGRD Medical College in Amritsar. So I hand over the stage to all these three powerful leaders of society to take this session forward directly to Dr. Indrani madam, to Dr. Sujata Ghosh madam, and Dr. Ruchi Gupta ma'am. Please, ma'am.
Thank you, President, Dr. Bala Venkat Subramaniam and Dr. Bajwa for giving us this opportunity to interact with world leaders of anesthesia. And good evening, everybody, and welcome to our panel discussion on women in leadership roles, challenges, and possibilities. It's an honor to introduce our esteemed panelists to discuss this important topic. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Eleni Moka, Dr. YK Chan, Dr. Sophie Chu, Dr. Anju Grewal, and Dr. Minerva Ervi Kalimag to this panel discussion. And joining me are my co-moderators, Dr. Sujata Ghosh and Dr. Ruchi Gupta. Friends, women are increasingly stepping into leadership roles across entrepreneurship, politics, education, business, and now we have women leading even in medicine, slowly but steadily. Trailblazers like Hillary Clinton in politics, Indra Nooyi in business, Oprah Winfrey in media. These are some of the exemplary women. And now we have a powerful panel, anesthesia power women with us in the panel. Well, a global shift is happening, but we have a long way to go. How much further we have come and how long we need to go in anesthesia? Let us discuss this with our esteemed panelist. And over to you, Sujata, to start the questions.
Good evening. After the brilliant introduction, I think we would go straight into a few questions that is haunting us that we'd like to discuss.
I'll just share the slides so that
yes,
there is no... 1 minute. Oh, sorry. How do I stop sharing this one? Share this one. Can everybody see the slides now?
Yes, ma'am. You just have to make it full screen.
Okay, yeah, done.
Thank you, ma'am. I have a small question to Dr. Eleni Moka. Ma'am, we talk of gender inequality, but I would like to know whether it truly exists. What is your opinion? What do you think? Whether it truly exists or not, and why so?
Thank you very much for the very important question. But before entering into my reply to this topic, First of all, please allow me to thank all of you for the very honoring invitation. It's a privilege and a big honor for me to participate in this session, which is truly innovative, I think, because we found ways to cross boundaries between continents and countries. I would like to introduce myself, first of all, for your audience. My name is Eleni Moka. I am a consultant anesthetist working for more than 20 years in anesthesia practice in Greece, recently being appointed as an academician in the University of Thessaloniki in my country. And I have to thank a lot of people and a lot of societies for this invitation. First of all, Dr. Balavenkat Subramanian, who has sent me this great invitation, but also the Indian Society of Anesthesiologists and their leaders, as well as the academy in your country in this subspecialty. So to come to your question, does gender inequality truly exist or not? And if yes or no, why? I have to admit that my answer is yes. Disappointingly, gender inequality does still exist, even if nowadays this is less visible and more nuanced, if I may say, than it had been in the past. And in anesthesia and medicine in general, women are increasingly present as over the years important milestones have been reached, with gender diversity being now evident in medical schools and even in academic administration. Currently, women represent around 50% of the medical school graduates in the United States and in Canada, with similar trends across UK and Europe. And if we want to focus a little bit further in the specialty of anesthesiology, the numbers are also promising. I have to admit this, and literature admits in the same way, with women now making up around 48% of anesthesia residents and almost 40% of ICU fellows. However, women, female, are still underrepresented in leadership, in decision-making roles, and most importantly, in recognition. And despite the gender diversity at the entry level in medicine, we see a significant drop-off in female representation as we move from training to consultant and leadership levels. And this is a pattern that is often described as a leaky pipeline. Women are fed into the pipe at the start of their medical careers, but tend to leak out at various stages for various reasons after graduation, during core or specialty training, and even later, not because of a lack of a talent or a lack of an ambition, but possibly because of the nature of the pipeline itself, at least in part. And if we want to see numbers regarding our specialty, we have to say that worldwide women represent about 25 to 30% of consultants in anesthesia. And leadership data mirror this imbalance because in the UK, for example, we have women accounting for 30% of NHS chief executives or almost 40% of clinical commissioning group leaders. And yet only 14 of anesthesia heads of departments and 27% of clinical directors are female, which is rather disappointing if you see at the numbers of medical students. And the situation seems to be similar elsewhere in the United States, in Australia, New Zealand, with only 10 to 25% of department chairs in anesthesia being women. And if we look further at the academic level, the underrepresentation becomes even clearer. fewer than 15% of professors in anesthesiology, and across all clinical specialties, especially in the United States, are women. And the same applies to our professional societies, where female representation on boards rarely exceeds 30-35%. And even in our scientific journals, progress is rather slow, despite the visibility, despite the campaigns about female and gender diversity, with female participation on the editorial boards still remaining very low.
Yes, ma'am.
To
And
answer your question, the gender gap is real and the reasons are multifactorial. It may not always be the case of an overt discrimination, but a complex interplay of historical structures built around male-dominated systems. We have important reasons that reflect cultural, organizational, systemic barriers, unconscious and implicit bias, limited and unequal access to mentorship or sponsorship, and the persistent challenge for the females of work-life balance, especially in our fields in anesthesiology, which is quite demanding. And this
ma'am,
creates
we will be going into the whys of it in detail now. And as you rightly said, gender inequality exists truly, and in anesthesia especially. The women come into the middle leadership, but when it comes to the top leadership, somehow they fall back. I mean, no, there are very few women reach the top leadership. Even if you see our Indian society, there was a time when there were no leaders in the top in the Indian society. And now we are about 4 or 5 of us amongst the 18. So that amounts to around 20 to 25% only. And even if you see Supreme Court judges, chief ministers, prime minister, how many are women? Not many people are taking top leadership roles. And as you rightly said, gender inequality truly exists. Thank you,
there
ma'am.
is a glass ceiling barrier, and this is what we have to break. This
Yes,
glass
ma'am. Yes,
ceiling
ma'am. Over to you, Ruchi.
we overcome.
Yeah. Over to you, Ruchi. Ruchi, are you there?
Yes, I'm there, very much there, Dr.
Yeah.
Indrani. Sorry, it was mute.
Yeah.
So my question is to Dr. Y.K. Chen. Are women really underrepresented in anesthesiology? If she thinks so, which are the areas she thinks that you think it's underrepresented?
Well, my answer to that question would be, if we take the Malaysian data into account, we are not underrepresented. If anything, women are overrepresented in this particular discipline. So, I mean, although I believe that when you are comparing data, our data with those in the world, we might be a little bit out of the normal range, in the sense that what Dr. Eleni said actually is very, very true, that women tend to drop out, but somehow the Malaysian women are, I would say, a different stock altogether. So we do have, in fact, very dominant women who have actually dominated the scene. If I were to tell you that in the last 20 years, we have had 10 different presidents, and of course, because they actually take the leadership role for every 2 years. They change every 2 years. And if I were to tell you the data, out of the 10 in the last 20 years, only 2 were males. So you can see how women in our society, in the Malaysian context, have actually become overrepresented in anesthesiology. So if you're actually going to ask me in which particular sub-areas of anesthesiology are we underrepresenting in this arena, I think all the areas in anesthesiology are fairly compatible with what a woman can do. So we don't seem to see the kind of pattern that everybody talks about. But of course, if you're not talking about anesthesiology, we have data as well, which shows like in the discipline of surgery, women are underrepresented. Yes. All right. And even in the ONG sector itself, that means to be an obstetrician, most of them you would have thought would be a woman, since in anesthesiology in Malaysia, we are nearly all women, about 60 to 70%. Whereas in obstetrics itself, the proportion, while coming up over the years, women are still a little bit underrepresented. That's how I see it, and that's because I'm very much influenced by the Malaysian data, because the thing is we are supported. Even though we are women, we don't feel as if we are second-grade citizens in any way. We don't see any barriers to us growing in our discipline as well as growing as a citizen in the country.
It's so heartening to hear this, ma'am.
Yeah, you must come to
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Seems to be an exception to the rule.
Yeah, we are the exception to the rule. So when
Yes.
Dr. Eleni actually mentioned that in the US and all that, I don't feel that kind of pressure.
Discrimination.
Although I did take time off as well, because I was a elderly primigravida. I did have trouble with my pregnancy, but even then, that did not slow me down in any way. And I took all my other roles in my stride. Women and children, and I'm sure Dr. Evie from the Philippines will tell you exactly how she did it. And I'm sure her story is even greater than mine.
Actually, to tell you the truth, even in critical care, you will find women are underrepresented.
I think that's the area, Dr. Indrani, I was also going to say.
Yeah.
In India, critical care is one area. I think we are less presented by, women are presenting it less as compared to other things. Even in chronic pain area, though there is a more male predominance. But now slowly women are picking up and they are coming forward. I think in very soon it will be almost equal. But till now, these are two areas I think women are underrepresented.
Obstetrics gynec is one area where in India, they are, at least 70% of them are women in obstetrics gynec in India.
Yes.
No, but I was just wondering, why should women be underrepresented in the intensive care unit as providers? Because they still go by rotation, right? And even in anesthesia, it's like, you work 8 to 5 kind of job, and then you go on your night duties. So where the time barrier is concerned, I don't think it is similar to surgery. It is very different, right? We just do our duties and then we go back. Whereas the surgeons have it quite different. If you are a woman, besides needing to be with the family, you still have long hours to keep. You have to follow up your patients, and that may not be very amenable to the duties that the woman has to actually also experience as part of her gender.
I think, Dr. Chan, it is in India, it is like, lot of family responsibilities are also there, and ICU needs. Critical care is not 8 to 5 here in India. It is a long hours. So probably people are not able to depute so many hours in critical care in so far as women are concerned, because they have to look after their families also and other aspects also.
So you
that
think
may be one of the reasons in India.
I see. So the women
gradually it is being leveled out, madam.
So the time barrier is actually important in India. But for us, because we do have fixed time, and they go kind of on rotation, because we do have adequate supply of providers to get our rotation well done. I think then it becomes less of a barrier to all of us to do what we want to do with our job as well as with our family.
Okay. Yeah. So my next question goes to Dr. Sophia Chu. How well or underrepresented are women in anesthesiology in a global perspective? Although Dr. Eleni Moka has talked about it, what's your opinion about it, Dr. Sophia?
Yeah, thank you very much for the question, and a very good evening to everyone. And again, thank you to ISA for this wonderful opportunity to share some of these perspectives. I think, as you can see, the representation of women in anesthesia is rather mixed. And I think it varies across different regions and across different areas of anesthesiology. So we all know that today, probably globally, women are getting more educated. And as such, there are more women entering, having a graduate degree and therefore entering into medicine. And eventually they may choose anesthesia as a specialty. So as Dr. Eleni has mentioned, after that, there is always a problem of how we retain these women in the profession. And it all depends on, different countries. What are the opportunities? What are the barriers? And I think it varies. In Singapore, I think currently we have slightly more women entering medical school. And once in anesthesia residency, it's almost 50% women, 50% males. So we have a good mix. And after they finish their residency and they enter as consultants, that's when we see perhaps where the opportunities lie. And I think in Singapore, at least, there have been many good women leaders in anesthesia, and I don't think the barriers are anything to do with the gender as such. So this is kind of unique perhaps to, this part of the world where I think women are given a lot of opportunities. A lot of time actually is that the women may not want to take up that leadership role, even if they have been considered for the leadership role due to other concerns, etc. But on the global basis, if you look at the countries such as the US and Europe, especially in academic settings, then the majority of women are overrepresented in the lower ranks, and they fail to attain the higher ranks of being professors or chairs. And again, there are various reasons in that I think in these countries, perhaps there's a lot of competition from their other counterparts. And it's not just based on, a matter of gender alone. And again, there is a possible, women not wanting to step out or step up to becoming leaders. So I think really how well or underrepresented, I think it all depends on a particular context, the different areas of anesthesia, and the different social background.
It's so nice to hear that, Singapore and Malaysia and the women in Singapore and Malaysia are far ahead compared to the rest of the world. I mean, you're saying it's almost 50% representation, and Dr. Chan is saying almost 100%. So she said of the 10, all 10 were women, right, Dr. Chan?
Oh, I didn't say 10. I said of the 10 over 20 years, only 2 were males. The
Only
rest
2 were male. Yeah,
80%.
Yeah. 80%. That is phenomenal. That's a phenomenal growth of women in your part of the world. That's really nice to hear. And Anju, what could be the possible reasons for the underrepresentation of women in leadership roles in general? I mean, we'll go into the specificities later, but overall, why should there be an underrepresentation? We can even talk in terms of an Indian perspective also, if you want. What could be the reason?
Thank you so much, Dr. Indrani, and a very good evening to all stalwarts up here. And thank you, ISA, for having us all here. You are very right. I believe, as all of my prior speakers have said, that they tend to fall out. There is indeed in India also a turn in the tide that more women are joining MBBS. Many women are joining your post graduation, especially in anesthesia, but they do not actually reach leadership roles. I believe in general there is a lack of mentorship, a kind of a support structure. And in India specifically, I think there's a lot of social conditioning that goes in to leadership positions. We still look at these positions as patriarchal, places, and we live in a patriarchal society with a mindset which looks at women differently. But then I'm happy to see that many women are indeed, as Eleni said, breaking the glass ceiling. Yeah, definitely. But then I think it's a lack of mentorship and support, both of them, especially in the mid level of their careers where they feel bogged down by family responsibilities and their social conditioning. These are the two general things that I can look at from an Indian perspective, perhaps.
Very true. I mean, especially in India, we can definitely say family responsibilities leading to attrition and underrepresentation is very true in India, because of them. And Dr. Ervi Kalimag,
Yes.
how do women balance home and workplace? Does it come easily? Dr. Bala Venkat Subramaniam said that you're a mother of 8 lovely kids.
Yes.
And we, with just 1 or 2 kids, are finding it so difficult to manage home and workplace. And to tell you the truth, in India, now women who join post graduation, they just don't want to get pregnant. They don't want to get, married at that age, at the right age where they're supposed to get married. They don't want to bear children within the fertile age of 27, 28. I mean, all because they want to pursue their career. So, and also because of the fact that children and marriage is going to bring down their their ambition, their hope to rise further. So how does it come very easily? How do you balance home, and how do you balance your home with workplace, with with your children and family, all the responsibilities which go with that?
So let me start by saying that at the Philippine Medical Association, for the last 121 years of its existence, there are only 7 female leaders. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do it 4 times.
Wow.
Anesthesia, we have more women in the leadership positions. In Asia, Malaysia had 1 anesthesiologist at the National Medical Association of Malaysia, and 1 for Thailand at the Medical Association of Thailand. That's Somsri Pausawasdi. In Malaysia, it was Mary Cardoza. Now we have another one. Azizan is a female, but she came much later. And I think, yes, people think that there is a stereotype, but we have to break beyond that stereotype, because it's not really a matter of perfection. It's really a matter of priorities, how you look at things, our perspective, and of course, partnership. I married my surgeon. So if I say I cannot do that case, please get another one, because, a child is having something in school, perhaps. No? So we have to really understand that we live dual worlds of care, no? One within the hospital and one within the home. And the skill sets are the same. Empathy, organization, endurance, foresight, they all allow us to navigate through domestic life. So everything is okay, color coded
for shoes, for slippers, for, things like those. But balance does not come automatically. It's really a dynamic process, and we have to find harmony in whatever we do. And if you ask me, does it come easy? Of course not. We have to be honest enough to acknowledge that it is not easy. But you know what? After several years, I lost my husband 16 years ago. And at that time, the first child uh, in medicine is actually just a medical clerk. And they said that, we will all get into medicine and we will all do it. So it's really just teaching the children how to have delayed gratification, because you cannot give everything to them all at once. Teaching them the values of resilience and grit to pursue long-term goals. And yes, they support me in the same way that I support them, So it's really role modeling. So now the 8 kids that started off in 2009 in medical school, they're now all doctors with different specialties. So it's really that, no? So I have family support, of course. I have to recognize that as well.
So nice to hear that, your children are all doing so well, and you have a family support so that you can give your time to your work as well as your family. It's so nice to hear that. But ma'am, way back in India, what we find is the competition for children to get into medical education is so high that the parents are completely focused on the children's education. And not only that, when we women are in our 40s and 50s, that is the time our parents are growing old, they are getting hospitalized. So then the kind of attention you can give to your work slowly and steadily dwindles down at that point of time when you are supposed to actually be at your peak. So these are some of the family issues which tries to pull a woman down, in India. So do you think women are getting more family support and recognition than before?
Well, the shift towards not having children now, this is more of a generational thing. They're more focused on, travel. After training, they go travel. They want to see the world. And they think that having children will, shackle them down. But we have to just make them understand, and role modeling is the thing, no? You have to, when they see that you can manage, then they will follow. So I think that is one thing that when I reflect, no, that is something that is very evident in this generation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dr. Indrani, I would like to add one thing, that without the support of family, I think most of women cannot hold the leadership positions.
Yes.
For anybody to, even in our Indian scenario, we have the support of our family or our husbands or our counterparts. So that's why we are able to manage and balance the things better. So their support comes very important aspect of our.
True. Sujata, over to
Absolutely,
you.
that is very true. Dr. Anju Grewal, madam, I have a question for you. With all the persistent barriers and challenges that women face, do you think men have an advantage over women in getting the leadership positions? I know most of it has already been discussed. But would you please like to add a few points of your own?
I think you are right. We have talked about family issues, support, societal conditioning. We've talked about mentoring, getting the right kind of support, not only at home, but also in the workplace. That's extremely important. And I believe that more often than not, women have some kind of an imposter syndrome. This, of course, comes over ages of social conditioning, that we do not think ourselves as enough to be able to achieve that position. So that is, of course, there. And men have an excellent support structure. I believe the resilience and the coping are a little better than us, simply because of the conditioning the society gives them from the very childhood. So that's one very important. I just want to, resonate with you. I was just talking about this in my own department, where I have 9 faculty, and of them, 8 of us are actually, 7 of us are actually females, So, and as I was talking to them, I did get a call from one of my administrators when there were undertones of microaggression up there.
Yes,
And
microaggression is so much, right?
so much, yeah. So then, as females, you have 2 options. You get back and, react. And more often than not, you feel that I do not want to get into any conflict. Let me have a tactical way out. So that is also one of the attributes of good leadership, but perhaps sometimes is not seen as a value into many leadership roles within the workplace. So that kind of pulls us back. And I believe that when men have boys clubs, why can women have women club and support each other? We really need that kind of support to each other. Otherwise we would be bogged down. Yeah, definitely.
What about unsupportive work environment? I would like to ask, any of your panelists can answer this question. Do you think women do face an unsupportive work environment, or active discrimination, pay disparities? Do you think all these are also barriers?
Of course.
Pay disparity we do find in the private sector. When women go to small nursing homes, as compared to a man, they are paid slightly less in India, especially.
Yeah, I know. I just want to add a kind of an anecdote here. It happened long back when I was young. I went to a small nursing home. I wanted to join there. And let me tell you that one of the doctors up there, the obstetricians there, was like kind of related to me. So he kind of introduced me to the management. And the statement that I get from the management is, we'll pay you this amount, which is less than the other counterparts, because you are a woman, a young girl, who would be getting married, who would have problems coming at night. And when I said I never mentioned that, and I know I can overcome that. I don't have those kind of barriers. But still, there is a hesitation. And if it was there 30 years back, it is still here. I can see that. It might be passive, might not be very active, but it still exists.
What about the other panelists? Do you find this kind of discrimination in your country?
Can I just add to
yes,
this?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Although I shared with you the good proportions that we have, we had also looked at our data to figure out what is different, what makes us different as doctors, especially at the specialist level. So we do have data that shows that almost up to 30% of our specialists do not get married. They're not married. So that actually frees them from having to take the other role of being a mother, a wife, and everything else. So maybe that is the reason why we have those figures that you saw. So most of our women end up not getting married for whatever reasons. And because they're not married, they're not burdened by a family and the family's responsibility, they are able to use their time and their drive to move upwards. So I'm not very sure whether the same applies to Singapore or the advanced countries that, show our type of figures. But this, I have to let you know, exists in the country.
Ma'am, this thing is picking up even
yes, it
in
is.
the rest of the world. Many
Yes,
women
Karen.
nowadays, they do not want to get married for the very reason, this very reason.
Until and unless they have very supportive husbands, their career takes breaks.
No,
Yeah,
they
that's
just
very
don't
Cannot
true.
want any
manage.
responsibility, family responsibility.
That's
So,
very
Actually,
true.
I'm not very sure whether these women do not want to get married so that they can move upwards, or it's because of the fact that they are doctors, they find it very difficult to get a husband, because most husbands or most men would want to marry a little bit lower, somebody lower than them. So to be a doctor, and yet if you don't have a chance to marry another doctor, you might not be able to find a husband or a companion that is in the same rank as you are or above you. I'm not sure, but this is how I see it, because when I was a medical student, my colleagues tell me, oh my God, we are all going to be in a bad shape. I mean, this is amongst the girls. We won't be able to find a husband. So when I became a specialist in anesthesiology, I remembered what she said. Then I said, oh, I'm now going to be doubly disqualified to be able to find a man. But of course, in the end, I found my true love. So it is a matter of luck, I suppose, but it is also a matter of the social fabric that presents itself in our discipline, you know. In being a doctor itself puts you in that kind of very difficult position.
May I?
in India, actually, when a girl marries, she not only marries her husband, she adopts the entire husband's family.
Family.
So
Family.
it's her responsibility. So modern women, they do not want that responsibility. They don't mind the husband, but not the family. So, so things, as you rightly said, now the modern woman, they do not want to get married. But here, finding another doctor partner or an equal partner may not be an issue over here. If they don't find a doctor, they find an IAS officer or IFS officer or a successful engineer. I mean, they find somebody equal. That's not an issue. But getting adjusted to their family is something which modern women don't want to do now. So
Indrani,
they do
That's
not
true.
want to get married.
May I
Doc-
post something also? Actually, men are actually trying to postpone getting married because they want to be able to support the family, and that's the reason why they may actually be girlfriends and boyfriends while they're still studying, but they may take some 10 years, 8 or 10 years before they get married. So actually pushing my daughters-in-law to be to, come on, get married, get married. So I think it's not really, it's really the signs of the times. Uh, Now men wants to be more responsible and, you know, don't just plunge into uh, a married life, and women should be able to find their other half much earlier, because that will be part of the process by which they are able to get to know each other better. So those are the things I tell my daughters-in-law to be, you have a expiration date for your ova.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you
could I say
Oh,
something?
Absolutely.
out it
yeah.
early.
Grande,
Very
could I
true.
say something? I think we have bias here, and we should consider them. We have cultural bias that make us deviate sometimes from the core of the issue. And in fact, the problem is the bias, the cultures we have. Wherever it is in India or in Europe or in Philippines or in Malaysia, it's how the society looks at women. And sometimes the society does not look at women in the way we would like to be done. And I would like to make this point just for your notification.
So, Dr. Eleni Muka, do you think that there are misconceptions that women face while they are in anesthesiology careers as academician or practitioners?
Yes, there are misconceptions, unfortunately,
What
even
kind
now.
of?
First of all, one persistent belief is that women are less suited for high intensity, demanding specialties, anesthesia, critical care, ICU. That women may lack the stamina, may lack the emotional detachment or the availability that the job requires. And this is a stereotype that subtly affects hiring, promotion, leadership opportunities. And another misconception, if I may say, is that women may be less ambitious or even less committed to their careers because of the family responsibilities or work life balance and so on. But I have to admit that women in reality often show exceptional resilience. And
Yes.
we have to admit that women show multitasking skills. This is our characteristics from our genes, if I may say. And this is why we simply face greater structural and cultural constraints. And if we want to look a little bit further in academician level, women sometimes are viewed as better educators. Yes, it's true, but not so good researchers sometimes, and therefore we are less likely be considered for grants, for editorial boards in journals, in societies, or in senior academic positions. And to my opinion, this is an unfair bias
Yes.
because it limits our visibility, our scientific contribution and potential, reinforcing further what I said at the beginning, the glass ceiling effect, if I may say. And there is also a notion that gender equity has already been achieved. This is not true in my eyes because that we have so many women entering our fields, but the problem is not solved because the representation at the entry level does not equal the leadership or the influence later on. And it is true that we continue to encounter unconscious bias because of lack of mentorship, sponsorship, uh, limited recognition, and so on. And I think that these misconceptions needs to be changed, needs to be redefined, if I may say, in an effort to value the collaboration, the empathy, the inclusion strengths, and not the weaknesses that we are used to listen in our daily life. Because when we create environments where both men and women can lead authentically our specialty, our medical careers, our practice can become stronger, more fair, and more innovative.
Right, ma'am. Actually speaking, as you rightly said, the leadership, the women leadership, they have empathy, so that is misunderstood as weakness, you know. So that
No,
could also be a misconception that
we
the
need to
empathic
change.
way of leadership, the one which they show compassion and empathy, that is misunderstood as their weakness. That's another
Rani, empathy,
misconception.
empathy and compassion should not be considered
As weakness, yes,
disadvantages of a woman, should be
that's true.
considered privileges of any practitioner.
Because
Those are
that's
the
when,
characteristics that should guide us in our practice, either done or perceived or performed by men or women. empathy or compassion should be our key word in our
That's
daily.
our strength, not a weakness,
Mhm.
you know? Right. So I think I skipped this because we just spoke about it. How should women, how are women leaders in workplaces? I mean, what do you think women leaders, how should they be in their workplaces? What do you think?
I
Dr.
believe that
Nimo.
women bring distinct strengths that transform workplaces. This is my key message. Not only for the teams, but also for the patients, for the institutions, for the global healthcare, if I may say, because we have studies across healthcare, organizational science that consistently show that gender diverse leadership fosters innovation, collaboration, and collective intelligence. And it is true that female leaders tend to promote more inclusive, psychologically safe environments where every voice can be heard, enhancing team cohesion and job satisfaction. And if we want to translate this in our specialty, in anesthesiology, this could be better communication in the operating room, in the pain clinic, in the perioperative environment, even more mindful. And what researchers call hitful performance, stronger situational awareness. It is true that women demonstrate higher levels of social sensitivity, social empathy, which can improve the team responsiveness and decision making even under pressure. And
Dr. Chan, do you think that women are more fair, more honest, what do you say? Their collective intelligence is equal to men, or maybe even more. Uh, what do you think? I mean, as compared to a man, do you
Well, with
feel
due
women
respect,
are more honest, more fair to their colleagues?
well, with due respect to the men in the audience, I will have to say yes. Women tend to be more mindful. That I think that's the correct word, mindful of the needs of others. The motherly touch in them, especially the older they get, and especially if they have children as well, the motherly touch in women actually do show up. And there are surveys that show patients do fare better when they have a female provider. My own concept is women actually have a bigger corpus callosum for the same size of brain, if you can understand what I mean. And because of that, they can multitask and do a lot of things better than men from that point of view, in the sense that they can address to the several needs, emotional especially as well, which may not be so easily addressed by men, in the sense that their emotion, in the sense that the females have got higher, from my perspective, I suppose the men may not agree, but our emotional intelligence is probably a bit higher than that of a man. So it pays to have women as providers if they can show that they are more caring, and patients can get better faster as a result of that.
Dr. Chan, I think, your motherly thing is very important. Empathy and motherly touch to the lot of situations helps in solving the problems. And
What are the
multitasking is, of
strategies,
course,
ma'am, to advance women in leadership? Dr. Chan or Dr. Kalimag, both of you can answer this.
Okay, what can women do to advance, or what strategies to advance women in leadership?
Leadership, yes.
All right. I think most women actually don't get into leadership roles unless they speak up. All right. And, in most of the interviews that we all go to, if you are a quiet person and you don't articulate well, all this will work against you. So most women are put into positions of leadership only when they do well, expressing what they have in terms of plans and all that. But equally, we must also understand that there are many leaders who are not given a destination, but they can still show leadership in their own ways, in their own soft ways. And actually, to be a leader, you don't really need to have a title behind you, as long as you show the various attributes that you would expect in a good leader. If you are generous with what you can share, I think all these will come through as a leader as well. And if your followers feel comfortable with you leading, you don't really need a title. So whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't really matter. What is more important is to develop those skills that you can share with others and advance the people who are following you. In fact, don't even treat them as your followers, treat them as your equal, who share the same vision with you as to what needs to be done. All right, and that goes for all of us, whether we are given positions in a very formal manner, or just to do it because you have the vision of wanting to change your community or even the world. There are many leaders in the world who has got vision. I mean, you look at all the leaders in the world, they have a vision. So it doesn't really matter whether you're a man or a woman, but as long as your vision actually helps others to survive and to survive safely, you will be a leader.
Right. Dr. Kalimak, do you have any other opinion about how to advance
I
and
would
what
like
strategies we can offer?
I would like to reiterate what YK said about lead before you are given the title, because you don't need the title and still be a leader. But to
Right.
be able to do that, we have to build credibility before visibility. We
Yes.
have to be able to have the skill set. People know that you can do it, you'll be able to achieve. It is leadership is not something that begins when you receive an appointment. It begins the moment you decide to take responsibility for something larger than yourself. And make sure that uh, you know, take care of yourself, nurture your well-being. Do not act your age. You know, people see you, you're, you're always up on your toes, you're mindful about things, uh, and make sure that you do not wait for permission or position or recognition. Start where you are, no?
Right.
Like, I've been teaching for the last 40 years, doing research for the last 40 years. And when you write, it's also a voice, no? Even if it is not, if you're better at articulating things in writing rather than just, when speaking or communicating by speaking, then so be it, no? The important thing is to lead through integrity, initiative, and influence, no? Influence others,
Madam, but
inspire.
you're right. But in spite of all that, women do not get opportunities. They do not get visibility. It is
But
true that women they are very sincere in their work, but they do not get the opportunity. They do not get the visibility. Anju, what do you feel about it? Do you think women are getting leadership opportunities in high profile projects? And do you think visibility is there?
Just
Think so?
before that, Indrani madam, Anju madam, I just wanted to tell you that we have had a long, wonderful conversation, and we are nearing our time. So we could all have a nice conversation again.
Sujata, I will be winding up. Don't worry.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Anju, do you feel that we are getting the due visibility?
So sometimes yes and sometimes no, I would say. Both the things do coexist. And at the same time, we really need to be present there and, get hold of the opportunities. We shouldn't shy away. And we need a lot of support from each other as well as from our male colleagues. I believe we need to honor the fact that we have those qualities imbibed in us that are there as women, and make them our strengths and move forward. But definitely opportunities need I was reading somewhere, it is not the women which need to be conditioned. It is the institutions and the places which needs to be repaired and perhaps conditioned to accept women as they are and give them that kind of opportunities, definitely across the country. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Indrani.
Yeah, just one last question to all the panelists. I just want one advice from all of you. What is that single most advice you would want to give your junior women faculty in their journey towards leadership role? Let me start with Dr. Eleni Moka.
Well, thank you very much. My single most important advice to all the female that attend us today would be: believe that you belong in the room. Be bold, be kind, and never apologize for your ambition. It's not arrogance, it's just a vision. And remember that leadership is not a title, it's just influence through authenticity, empathy, and consistency. And I would like to close my input with quoting what Catherine De Angelis, the first female editor-in-chief of JAMA, said: gender diversity needs to be embraced by the top. Otherwise, we will waste half of our genetic pool of intelligence, creativity, critical insights, and experience, and medicine simply cannot afford that loss.
Right.
Anesthesia, like the rest of medicine, is inevitably be missing some of the best and the brightest.
Thank you. Dr. Chan?
Well, I think we have to forget we are a female. Just be a human.
Yes.
And a good human who would like to share with the world your very best to change the world for better, so that when you leave the world, you've left it a better place to be in.
Right. Dr. Anju?
My only word is be resilient. Do not compare yourself to anyone, whether it's a male or a female. Just keep excelling over your previous self and never leave an opportunity to support anybody around you. That is what takes you forward as a leader.
Dr. Chu?
Hi, I'd like to remind all of us we're braver than we think we are. We are stronger than what we seem, and we're usually smarter than what we really are. So I think we need to stay true to ourselves, believe in ourselves. We need to set realistic targets. And whatever you do not only for yourself, but for your profession. And you may practice locally, but you must have a global and a generational perspective to bring up the leaders of tomorrow. So I hope that all the ladies in this room will heed the clarion call to be leaders, future leaders in anesthesiology. And I wish all of you very best.
Dr. Ervi?
For me, our voice will carry weight when it is grounded in competence, consistency, and compassion. Excellence is our best argument, and collaboration is our strongest ally. But remember, leadership is not a solo climb. It is a bridge where we build others to cross. We lift as we rise, we celebrate the successes of our peers, and invest in the next generation of women leaders. Thank you very much.
How nice.
So
I think the World Federation has got this important responsibility of, to have this mentor-mentee module. Only if we have this mentor-mentee module, more and more women leaders will take charge and come up. So I think this will, which is Women Inspired to Learn and Lead, is a very good mentor-mentee program, where, they act as advisors, protectors, developers, they affirmers, they are sponsors, they provide visibility, they provide recognition, they mentor them, So I think this is a very important module which has to be developed if women have to progress in future. And uh, as as it is said, leadership is not about being in charge. All the panelists have said that it's about taking care of those in your charge. And gender inequality is actually man-made, right? And another important lesson which our panelists said was be smart and work hard. Don't give excuses. Dr. Kalimag, a mother of 8, she had no excuse, even if you're facing harder choices. Thank you very much, my esteemed panelists. It was a wonderful discussion and a very heart-to-heart discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much, and
Thank you.
And it was a great pleasure
forget
discussing with you all, ma'am. Eleni ma'am, Minerva ma'am, YK Chan ma'am,
Bye.
Chu ma'am,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
you have
I think-
shared with us
Sorry.
tremendous knowledge and perceptions.
Sorry, I want to talk one thing. I had heard one Bala's lecture. I think that's a great lecture. One must listen to about the leadership qualities and how to develop them. I think
Exactly.
that was one of the most wonderful lectures I had heard.
But
Thanks,
this is a
Bala, for-
perception to us from the world leaders, and we have to take the leaf from their books too. And a deep gratitude to my co-moderators, Indrani ma'am and Ruchi Gupta ma'am, and all the ISA members who have joined us in this great exchange of knowledge, ideas, and values.
and
Thank you.
let's not
Thank you, ma'am.
forget the men. It's very
Yes.
important.
Exactly.
The men are not our competitors. We should go together along for a better outcome
Right,
for
ma'am.
I
Right.
totally agree. We love all our male providers as well. It's just
Yes.
this is a very
Yes.
artificial
Yes.
battle that we've drawn.
Yes.
And it is all within the realm of this 1.5 hours. So all the men who are listening in, may you forgive us for bringing out some of the grouses that we may seem to have.
Yeah.
Don't feel so bruised.
Thank you
We are
so
your,
much.
we are your fellow
Yeah.
providers as well. We love you to be
Thank
in
you,
your
Yukwen, because you touched the core.
Right.
So
Thank
thank
you so much.
you, all the powerful ladies of India and the globe. So we were listening to you very intensely, got imbibed every point in our heart and brain. So what was being discussed? To be very frank, it's the time that has already changed. In a country like India, I think we may have certain places the gender inequality does exist to a large extent. But I think with the current generation, as well as the generation of ours also, where intellectual sense has prevailed over the things, the quality has shifted more towards the female side. This is my confession on that side, because at home, my personal opinion is that I consider my wife as a better decision maker than me in certain circumstances, where I used to take advice from her because that's the first person whom I go to take advice. Because being a professional with the equal status in our specialities, I think that she has proved that sentence right, that behind every successful man, there is a successful woman. And over the years, while working with her, I've realized one thing. I can say over the last 24 and a half years, we have done many of the vaginal deliveries, the painless labor deliveries, and the cesarean sections. To my surprise, it's my observation. I have not enumerated the data or documented data for publication, but I've hardly seen any female born having a respiratory distress. But all the respiratory distress cases, the majority, maybe more than 90%, are by the males. So that see, when a female is born, she's a born tough. And all the tough males who have acquired the leadership roles, they're also born to a female. So you can say the role of a woman starts right from the motherhood to the sisterhood, then to the friends, and then to again the wife, and then the daughters. I think a person who is blessed with all is the most luckiest person because a woman shapes a life of a male. And this is a fact, and we should be proud of it rather than considering that we have grown ourselves. This is a fact in today's life, in a professional life ours. There are so many incidences you have to have their wife or your friend, female friend, to be standing right in front of you to tell you that this is the way to live life. I think that's the real situation happening today in a stressful life, especially in our specialty in anesthesia. And I am really, again, very much indebted to our anesthesia couples in our country, how they really balance life. We have interviewed them. So today, the discussion, I think if you say the respect for female leaders have grown tremendously in this country. And it's a fact, and it's on the record, it's being recorded, it's in by the national leaders, and it will go on to play on the records. And now I think the same feeling will be echoed by our president, Dr. Bala Venkat sir. Dr. Bala sir, unmute yourself, sir.
You're muted,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you so much. I think it was a brilliant session with a lot of thoughts emanating from people who have gone through several challenges, but have shown that in every challenge that there is a possibility, and have shown that if you're determined, flexible, and compassionate, you will be able to accomplish all that you want to achieve. It's immaterial of the gender. And this meeting and the insights that emanated from this clearly shows that uh, if you are determined, you could accomplish. And I'm heartily congratulate all the panelists for sharing their insights very beautifully and very elegantly and very gracefully. And as men, we completely imbibed your endurance to propagate and prosper. And as mentioned by Eddie, it's going to be collaborative. And as echoed by Sophie, I think we, like YK, all of you said that we need to coexist and go together, collaborate together, and accomplish together. And that's the essence of this session. And it was absolutely amazing and brilliant and excellent presentation. And we wholly thank all three.
Bala sir, I think your
By
connection.
young women anesthesiologists.
Sir, your last line, you can repeat your last line. Your connection was disturbed.
Still, there is an issue.
I think, sir, it's a network issue. But anyway, I
Switch
think
off the
it's
video
almost,
and he can say that.
yeah, it's 7:55.
Okay.
And I think before ending, I will request everyone to turn their video off to let us play the national anthem. Because we stand when we play the national anthem, but here, rather than standing, we turn our videos off.
everyone, we are presenting National Anthem by ISA Cultural Club. Jai Hind.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा
विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल
चलो चलो तिरंगा सुषमा सब जगह
जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता
So, we have come to the end of a very nice program today, the day two of our Anesthesia Action Week. And the next 5 days are lined up with beautiful programs. And I request all of you to keep joining us on every day at 6:30 p.m. sharp, so that you can enjoy one of the most beautiful celebration of anesthesia, I think first of its kind at the globe. And today our international faculty will be seeing it as a remarkable celebration by the Indian Society of Anesthesiologists. So tomorrow again, it's a beautiful day, a Sunday for us, and in the evening we will meet again. And the surprise, we will be sending the messages to every group and to all the faculty. So what is in line for storage for tomorrow? Be prepared for tomorrow. And we will be meeting tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. again. So thank you very much, and all the respected women leaders. We are really thankful, indebted from our heart that you made your space, your precious time for this discussion, and it will be available on YouTube at ISNHQ forever. It will be recorded, so you can always download it from there. So thank you very much, and we always end these programs by saying, "Long live ISA."
Long live ISA.
ISA.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And good
Thank you
night
so
from
much.
India.
Night to
Congrats,
all of you.
ISA.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much.
Thank you for having us. Goodbye. Good night.
Goodbye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Good night.